各位早晨，你好，多謝各位今日參加個 seminar。咁或者我哋再等幾分鐘，等多啲人入咗嚟嘅時候，我哋再開始今次嘅 webinar 先。咁麻煩各位可以耐心咁樣等幾分鐘，跟住我哋就會開始嘅。麻煩晒各位。各位好，各位早晨。首先多謝各位今日參加嚟今日我哋嘅一個 webinar 啦。咁我先自我介紹啦，我叫 Kenneth Wong，咁我就係代表 HCL 香港 office 嘅。咁我本身個職位就係director，咁我負責係推廣HCL 嘅一啲嘅 IT 方案咧，俾翻我哋嘅客戶同埋其他嘅一啲公司。咁其實呢個與會者咧，咁入邊其實仲有其他一啲嘅公司去舉辦嘅。咁但係 before that，咁其實我就想睇下在座即係 online 參加嘅朋友，你可唔可以聽到或者係睇到我哋呢一個嘅一個 video 個 presentation？ 咁麻煩如果睇到嘅話，煩可以喺個 chat box 嗰度睇翻打翻個一字啊，麻煩你。等我知道下。OK， 唔該晒各位。咁我而家正式開始今次嘅一個分享啦。首先咧就係介紹翻我自己，咁我係 Kenneth 啦。咁左右旁邊咧就係我哋一個嘅好重要一個夥伴咧，就係 TechNet 咧，阿 Jason 咧，一陣間佢就會分享翻 TechNet 喺我哋喺唔同嘅一啲範疇、唔同嘅行業入邊咧，分享翻佢點樣去做啲一啲嘅維護方案啦、保護 IT 嘅方案入邊咧，俾翻各位。咁而另外咧喺 CompuCon 咧，亦都係我哋一 一間好重要嘅香港一個代理商咧，去負責推廣我哋唔同嘅 IT 方案嘅。OK， 咁所以今日咧嗰個題目咧就係叫做 Best Practice for Protecting and Managing Every Endpoint 咧。其實主要嗰個嘅 theme 咧就係想講翻，因為其實大家都知道而家 IT security 就越嚟越重要啦。你可能周不時喺坊間上邊或者新聞上面都見得到好多唔同嘅一啲嘅有保安嘅漏洞啊，或者係一啲資料嘅外泄。咁其實我哋希望咧，藉住依個嘅 webinar 短短嘅一個鐘頭咧，就俾大家一啲嘅分享。我哋喺行業入邊見到啲而家個行業趨勢啦，或者我哋有啲咩嘅方案可以俾到各位客戶嘅。而今日嘅 agenda 入邊咧就有幾個部分啦。首先就係我哋介紹翻我哋自己本身公司 HCL 啦。咁跟住咧就會由我旁邊阿 Jason 咧就會係講翻 TechNet 佢間公司喺香港入邊有啲咩經驗去幫到我哋客戶咧，去保護翻佢哋 IT 嘅資源咯。咁跟住咧就會由我哋 HCL 有個 product specialist 咧喺外地嗰邊，跟住就係會有一個 presentation 咧就講翻我哋一個產品叫 BigFix 咧，去點樣去幫助我哋客戶。而跟住咧，我哋就有個 demonstration 咧，係俾翻各位，咁大家可以除咗有啲文字上，大家見得到究竟呢個嘅 BigFix，我哋有一個方案入邊有啲乜嘢嘅特別之處啦，同埋亦都有一個 demonstration 可以俾到一個大家知道，其實如果真係點樣應用呢個 BigFix 時候咧，我哋係點樣喺你個 IT 環境入邊應用嘅。咁最後希望有幾分鐘，即係有一個 Q&A 時間。咁如果其實大家喺一個呢個嘅分享入邊嘅時候，隨時如果你有咩問題嘅時候咧，都可以喺個 chat box 嗰度咧去問你嘅問題嘅。咁我哋有其他同事咧去幫手去幫手回答。咁事不宜遲啦，咁我先簡單介紹翻我哋 HCL 間公司啦。咁其實 HCL 間公司，咁其實可能大家都聽過喺個坊間上邊。HCL 其實 technology 咧，我哋本身已經有幾十年喺 IT 上邊嘅歷史，喺個 service provider。咁而其實 HCL Software 就大約係2016年嘅成立。咁我哋本身最初成立嘅時候咧，係主要呢個 division 咧係推廣翻喺市場上邊一啲嘅軟件方案俾翻各位唔同嘅客戶，包括可能係保安上邊啦，可能係一啲嘅開發軟件上面咧，希望咧就係希望幫到唔同嘅客戶嘅需要咧，唔同嘅一啲嘅即係 IT 上面嘅唔同嘅需要。咁而其實我哋2016年同 IBM 咧就有啲嘅 agreement 咧，就係可以同佢同一時間去發展某啲嘅 software。咁到真係我哋喺2019年咧，我哋就完全收購咗 IBM 某啲嘅軟件，就作為我哋 HCL 一個嘅自己嘅一個產品嚟嘅。咁 BigFix 係其中一樣嘢。咁但係之後我個一啲嘅分享入邊咧，都會講翻其實我哋仲有其他一啲嘅產品俾大家一啲介紹。OK。咁其實我哋不斷喺呢幾年咧都發展咗好多唔同嘅一啲嘅產品開發喺我哋呢啲嘅產品上邊咧，希望可以滿足到而家日新月異 IT 唔同嘅環境嘅需要，同埋唔同嘅客戶一啲嘅情況，希望可以幫助到大家。咁其實本身講翻去 HCL 一間嘅公司咧，其實我哋嘅規模咧已經每年咧已經有10個 billion 嘅 revenue，OK， 全世界。咁而我哋喺50個國家入邊都有啲分公司啦，同埋我哋好幸運地或者係本身我哋都係可以成為福布斯入邊2021年其中一個嘅得獎者係 World's Best Employer。咁其實可以俾到個信心俾大家，其實 HCL 喺我哋全球已經有唔同一啲嘅分佈啦。咁同埋咧，我哋亦都有唔同一啲嘅支援俾我哋一啲嘅客戶。咁其實咧，我哋每間公司都有一個 inspiration， 即係或者我哋一個 mission， 點樣去幫助到我哋嘅客戶。咁其中之一，我想一個提出嚟咧，就係話其實HCL 我哋其實希望我哋係會 keep 住好多一啲嘅發展我哋 software 去方案去滿足唔同日新月異一個唔同嘅需要。因為大家都知道，其實而家真係個市場上變化好快，可能今日係講緊呢個嘅呢個方案，聽日咧可能已經有唔同嘅需要。其實我哋自己有好強大一個嘅 development team 咧，喺世界唔同嘅各地咧，希望我哋真係可以發展到我哋嘅軟件咧，係與時並進咧，去 keep up 住嗰個 IT market。咁所以其實可能大家以前有機會聽過我哋某啲嘅產品，但係可能中間有啲時間可能會唔會有啲嘢停咗？咁其實我哋而家嗰個 mission 咧，就係話希望會 keep 住有一個好 frequent 一啲嘅一個產品嘅更新咧，去滿足翻而家市場上邊唔同嘅需要。所以喺我哋過去5年入邊咧，其實已經有超過30個唔同嘅產品嘅一個嘅嘅唔同嘅產品提供俾喺個市場上邊。咁當然啦，而家大家都知道，其實而家可能每間公司自己，除咗話我自己本身可能有個嘅數據中心，咁其實好多時候你都要諗下，究竟我啲軟件會擺落去雲上邊啦。咁其實而家我哋 HCL 所有嘅軟件咧，其實一定會係有一啲叫做 on-prem，即係喺你線下，即係話喺你嘅自己數據中心入邊咧，可以提供到你自己安裝啦。或者如果你有需要嘅時候，你擺喺公共雲上邊 public cloud 上邊嘅時候咧，其實我哋都有相同類似嘅方案咧，可以將個軟件咧係行喺上邊公有雲上邊嘅。所以其實就俾有一個彈性俾各位咧，就係話你可以選擇喺唔同嘅地方去運行你嘅軟件。咁呢個就係頭先我所講一個好着重一點，就係我哋 HCL 成個，即係我哋成個成日都講嘅就係話，我哋點樣去做多一啲嘅產品開發，去滿足唔同嘅需要。所以見得到其實喺而家我哋自從係收購咗某啲嘅軟件，喺2016年開始收購咗軟件，其實我哋已經做過多過1460個嘅產品嘅發布，同埋如果係 major release 最重要嘅一啲發布咧，我哋都多過78個。所以其實你見得到我哋不斷去研發或者係不斷去改進我哋嘅軟件咧，呢個係好重要嘅，因為其實軟件係要不斷去改進同埋開發咧，去滿足唔同嘅需要。咁呢個咧就係一個好簡單介紹翻我哋喺成個全世界入邊咧，唔同地方有啲唔同嘅一啲 reference customer 顧客。咁你見得到其實我哋咧係分佈到喺唔同嘅一啲嘅行業入邊，可能係一啲嘅健康護理嘅行業啦。可能係一啲銀行啊、保險啊，可能有啲零售服務嘅，或者係有啲叫做電信方面嘅一啲嘅公司咧，我哋都有唔同一啲嘅客戶咧，俾到信心各位咧，就係話其實我哋喺唔同嘅地方、唔同嘅行業有唔同嘅一啲嘅方案提供俾各位。咁我哋喺唔同嘅產品入面，頭先我所講啦，我哋有可能多過30種一種唔同嘅一啲嘅產品嘅時候，其實今日當然我哋會着重就係 BigFix 呢個叫 endpoint management 一個嘅產品啦。但係其實我哋本身亦都有唔同嘅產品咧，係可以幫助到客戶唔同嘅需要嘅。咁我呢度咧就唔會去即係每一個都會講啦。咁但係咧，我希望就俾到一個嘅感覺就係話，其實我哋好多嘅唔同嘅產品咧，都俾到一啲喺一啲嘅唔同嘅一啲嘅recognition 入邊咧，都有一啲嘅獎項啊，或者係一啲嘅喺一個 leader collection 入邊嘅。咁呢個就係我哋4大一個嘅 tower 係按呢個嘅一個技術分佈啦。咁其實你見到左手邊到右手邊，咁簡單啲嚟講 ，customer experience 就係可能你本身你可能有啲 front-end 嘅一啲 portal 啊、management 啊、commerce 啊，咁我哋就會用呢個啦。可能本身已經有我哋啲客已經用緊嘅 Domino 啊，或者係啲客都係其實都係喺我哋 HCL 軟件服務入邊嘅。咁而我哋亦都係好着重第3個 tower 就係話一啲嘅 development、operation、DevOps 嘅 tools 咧，俾翻各位。咁即係幫助大家如果開發一啲嘅方案嘅時候咧，可以更加快速同埋咧可以好 agile 啦，咁樣去反映翻個市場上嘅需要。而今日嘅重點咧就係喺個 BigFix 上邊。BigFix 就係我哋其中一個嘅安全性嘅一個方案咧，係俾翻各位咧去點樣去管理你可能你個 mobile device。可能你有啲 server， 可能有啲嘅workstation、desktop， 你點樣去做啲 life cycle management 咧？咁一陣間我哋就會同事咧去講解翻呢樣嘢嘅。OK， 咁我呢個介紹就好快完咗呢度。咁如果大家有咩問題關於 HCL 嘅公司或者其他關於我哋其他產品咧，都可以揾翻我哋。咁而家我先交俾下一個 topic 俾翻Jason 係。好啊。可唔可以出嚟到？得。OK。哦，大家見到啦嘛，係咪？好啦，咁啊就係啦，好開心啊！今次咧就有機會同 HCL 一齊喺同台啦，有一個咁樣嘅Webinar啦。咁就我諗最主要就希望喺以下大5分鐘到10分鐘嘅時間，都介紹翻 TechNet 點樣可以喺特別啦，我諗喺 BigFix 呢個產品上邊，究竟TechNet 作為一個 business partner， 究竟有啲乜嘢可以幫到大家咧？咁樣嚇。
個 screen 得。好啦，咁咧就嗱，我哋頭先阿 Kenneth 講得好好啦，即係其實我哋講緊啲 endpoint management 嚇。其實 endpoint 咧，其實我有兩個大嘅範疇，一個範疇咧就係一般大家同事用緊 desktop 啦，或者你哋用緊 notebook 啦。咁另外一個範疇咧就係我哋講緊喺個 data center 裏邊嘅 server side 嚇。咁我呢啲咧我哋都係叫做一啲嘅 endpoint。咁今日嘅 BigFix 嘅產品。我哋其實呢個團隊已經差唔多做咗10年啦嚇，咁呢個係一個我哋睇到一路嗰個產品嗰個演變咧。頭先 Kenneth 講過話，喂，其實產品係要因應個市場嘅需要嚇。咁今天其實 HCL 咧亦都係繼續將呢個產品咧再發揚光大嚇。你見到佢對於一啲嘅 mobile device 啊、iOS 啊、iPadOS 啊、Android 咧，今年咧佢哋發布咗一個嘅能夠 support 到，佢亦都可以 manage 到呢啲嘅 device 嚇，咁咧就其實你見得到就係話喺成個我哋叫做常我哋用嘅一啲嘅 endpoint 咧，其實我相信我哋接觸嘅或者我仲有一個 partner 我哋睇到嘅就係我諗係 BigFix 呢個產品先能夠可以比較全面啲去 cover 晒所有嘅 endpoint。咁呢個我相信都係一個喺 BigFix 呢個產品裏邊咧一個比較特別啲嘅地方。咁過去呢10年啦，我想俾大家睇一啲數字咧，就係呢啲呢嘅 desktop notebook 咧，就係過去呢10年，我哋呢個團隊去服務街上嚟嘅所有嘅一啲嘅 number of desktop， 嗰度成7萬幾個 desktop 係 notebook 係用緊呢個產品去做管理嘅。咁另外咧就係喺 server side 裏邊嚇，有大約係有超過16000個嘅 OS。咁呢啲 OS 咧係包括林林總總啊，包括 Windows、包括 Linux、包括 AIX， 甚至有一啲嘅比較舊少少嘅一啲嘅Unix 啊，譬如 Solaris 啊。甚至係啲 HP 咧，都係用緊呢個產品咧去做一啲嘅管理嘅方案嘅。咁所以你睇到佢嗰個全面性咧係比較會強啲，亦都係咁樣講啦。我哋個團隊裏邊個經驗亦都係好豐富嘅。好啦，咁啊下邊咧就係有兩張 slide 想即係都想同大家 share 翻，就係話究竟我哋呢10年究竟有啲咩嘅 customer 係會用緊呢啲嘅產品咧？嗱，我哋個團隊咧，其實我哋 serve 緊香港同埋澳門嚇。我哋最遠嘅 customer 咧就係喺塞班島，係一個賭場嚇。咁佢都係用 BigFix 咧去 manage 嗰啲 endpoint 嘅。我記得嗰陣時我啲同事咧就係飛去塞班島咧，係幫佢做 implementation 嘅。咁係一個好好玩嘅一個過程嚟嘅嚇。咁你見到呢一張 slide 咧係講緊一啲 endpoint，即係話呢啲公司係用緊 BigFix 去管理緊佢嘅 desktop notebook 呢一部分嘅嚇。咁你見到就係由一啲香港比較出名嘅呢個品牌啦，到一啲嘅 security firm 啦，佢哋都會有用嘅。咁香港、澳門一啲嘅政府部門啦，香港一啲嘅政府部門咧，亦都係會用呢個產品去幫我哋管理呢啲嘅 endpoint。好啦，咁呢個咧就係一個 server side，即係話係 multiple OS 嘅 management 上邊咧，咁呢啲嘅唔同嘅行業咧，你見到咧都會有用得到 BigFix 呢個產品嘅，包括一啲銀行啦，包括一啲證券公司啦。一啲外國嘅銀行啦，香港本地嘅一啲大學啦，甚至就係有一啲大嘅一啲品牌，好似美心啦嚇。咁特別今年咧，我哋好開心，我哋有幾個好重要嘅 customer 咧，我哋上咗 BigFix 啊，譬如S. Watson 啦，佢用呢個佢 S. Watson 就嗰個佢哋管理嘅都係背後佢哋嘅 Windows 同埋啲 Linux server 嚇，咁包括香港同埋歐洲嚇，咁你諗下即係。一個兩面嘅一個嘅唔同嘅地區咧，都要用同一個產品係幫佢管理喺 OS 上面嘅vulnerability或者一啲 patch management。好 Manulife 一樣啦，咁大家即係好熟悉呢個品牌啦，佢哋都係用呢一個咧係愛嚟去管理佢後邊一啲server 上邊嘅 patch management 嘅嚇。好啦，咁咧就我哋做咗即係 BigFix 10年啦，我哋都睇得到其實 BigFix 我常常我哋都同啲客戶去 share 一個佢有一個好重要嘅一個佢嘅能力係乜嘢咧？就係佢嘅 architecture。佢嘅 architecture 個好處就係咩咧？嗱，我特別而家我哋講緊一啲離散式分佈嘅一啲嘅 office 啊，可能你個 office 好多可能甚至 work from home， 甚至有啲同事可能喺cafe 要做嘢，甚至可能係一啲最遠一啲比較唔係咁容易可以 connect 到嘅，甚至只係話我只可能我用電話去 connect 嘅。而 BigFix 嘅 architecture 咧，就正能夠可以配合一個比較複雜嘅一個環境嚇。咁呢個咧係其中一個政府部門啦嚇，咁佢都係 用 BigFix 去管理佢啲 endpoint 嘅。我想大家睇一睇呢一度咧，就係嗱，你見到佢有一個叫做3G 4G 嘅 connection 嚇。咁咧喺 BigFix 嘅 architecture 嚟講咧，佢都能夠可以支援到用一個 mobile 嘅 connection咧，都能夠可以管理到一啲好遙遠嘅一啲嘅 office。咁呢個咧係 BigFix 係相當之即係佢自己本身有一個嘅 IP 喺裏邊咧，能夠做到呢一件事。而你見到一個咁複雜嘅一個嘅所謂一個architecture 咧，佢都係完全咧係可以支援得到。咁所以大家唔使擔心。如果我真係一啲比較大嘅 deployment 啊，譬如一啲真係唔同地區、唔同 office 啊，甚至一啲 remote 啊，而家我哋講緊成日都 work from home，我點樣 manage 一啲 endpoint 咧？咁 BigFix 嘅 architecture 正係可以滿足呢個條件。我想特別帶出俾大家睇到一個咁樣嘅一個嘅 architecture。好啦，咁呢度只係純粹講翻即係BigFix 嘅 license 啦。咁佢好簡單，就係話我哋有3大種嘅 license 啊，係呢個 life cycle 啦、inventory 啦同埋 compliance。顧名思義就係life cycle 就係我點樣能夠幫助去管理一個endpoint 成個所謂嘅一個 life cycle 嘅流程嚇，包括一啲 patching 啦，包括一啲 policy 啦嚇。咁 inventory 好簡單，就係話我要睇下，我而家我管理緊嗰個嘅 endpoint，佢裏邊嗰個無論 hardware config software 裝咗啲乜嘢，我可以喺裏邊比較容易啲、好快咁知道公司嘅 asset 究竟有幾多。好啦，反而我覺得而家最重要就係個 compliance 呢一部分。呢部分咧，其實我哋講緊特別地呢幾年疫情啦，咁佢有好多嘅 work from home 嘅 situation 出現咗。究竟喺一個 enterprise 裏邊，佢點樣能夠 make sure 一啲 work from home 嘅一啲嘅 notebook 能夠可以 comply 翻 to 公司 before connect 翻上公司嚇？大家即係我諗 IT 都面對緊呢一個嘅挑戰啦。特別地，即係我點樣 make sure 啲同事好耐都可能都仲係喺屋企做緊嘢，嗰啲 patch 點搞啊？如果佢冇 update 到啲antivirus version， 佢點樣處理啊？佢俾唔俾佢 connect 翻嚟啊？即係好多呢啲方面嘅嘢會考量嘅。咁所以其實呢幾年咧，其實我哋都接觸咗好多 customer 對呢方面咧有好多嘅要求。嗱，大家見得到咧，喺 compliance module 裏邊咧有幾個好重要嘅嘅 policy 喺裏邊嘅，譬如 CIS 啦、DISA 啦。咁大家覺得可能呢扎嘢好似都未必關我事。咁但係其實好多個行業，包括銀行啊、保險啊，甚至一啲 enterprise 咧，都會攞到佢呢啲嘅呢啲 policy 咧，去成為一啲我 in-house enterprise 裏邊獨有嘅。嗱，當然我未必需要跟足佢，好似 CIS 有300幾條 rules， 我唔需要跟足佢嘅。可能我攞其中嘅100條。我已經能夠滿足我而家我自己公司 audit 或者 security audit 或者 security team 嗰個嘅要求。咁點樣去 convert 咧？點樣將一本 book 啊，講緊啲好 high level 嘅嘢，點樣能夠變成咗一啲嘅 policy，which 能夠 apply to 喺每一個嘅 enterprise 裏邊咧？呢個正正就係BigFix 今天佢能夠俾出嚟一個好嘅一個嘅方案，特別喺 compliance module 裏邊。咁希望咧有機會咧就喺嚟將來嘅時間咧有機會可以同大家再多啲去分享裏邊一啲嘅細節位嘅嘢嗱。咁所以咧就其實可以總括啦。呢幾年當我哋去做呢啲 project 嘅時候，其實我哋見到喺 enterprise 裏邊咧有一啲好特定嘅呢個挑戰咧係遇到嘅。特別地第一個，我諗大家都好同意就係 work from home。究竟呢啲 remote device 我哋點樣能夠可以滿足啲 security 嘅 requirement，so that before 佢 connect 翻上我哋公司嘅網絡嘅時候，佢能夠滿足呢啲條件咧 ？patch 係咪做好咧？頭先所講裏邊有冇啲嘢係譬如 antivirus 係咪已經係裝咗最新嘅 version 咧？係咪各方面嘅嘢應該都係 ready， 係我先至俾佢 connect 翻嚟咧？嗱，呢個位係真係好大嘅挑戰嚟嘅。究竟佢 connect 翻嚟 from home 啊，from 一個 cafe 啊？究竟喺邊度翻嚟咧？係嘛？大家都未必好能夠捉料到，但係亦都因為疫情，你都冇辦法唔要去等啲同事可以 work from home 或者 work from somewhere，so that 你能夠做得到。咁呢個係一個好挑戰性嘅一個嘅 requirement 嚟嘅。咁另外就 vulnerability 啦。咁啊，今天即係其實各類型嘅 device 都不斷有更新，因為有新嘅requirement 要去滿足。咁究竟你點樣能夠將呢啲 vulnerability 啲 flag 同我 compliance 能夠接軌咧？咁當然我有好多啲嘅呢啲嘅 rule set 我可以去 follow。譬如頭先我所講喺個 compliance module 裏邊有 CIS 有 DISA 啊呢啲佢可以跟，但係會唔會有一啲嘅rule set 係特定係 for 你自己嘅公司嘅咧？譬如話你個行業裏邊特別要有嘅咧？咁呢個都係一個我哋即係可以幫到，即係呢個都係一個挑戰嚟嘅。點樣能夠可以做到呢件事？好啦，咁另外一個挑戰係咩咧？就係一個limited 嘅 resource。呢個 resource 我係指緊乜嘢咧？就話可能喺 in-house 嘅 IT 裏邊咧，其實 有陣時都今天我哋都面對咗有一啲咧喺人手上面嘅一啲嘅缺陷啊。咁究竟呢件事我要管理咁多 endpoint， 究竟我揾邊啲人會幫到我手咧？邊啲能夠快速地能夠滿足 security audit 上面嗰個需要咧？咁呢個係正正就係而家我哋見到喺 IT 同行裏邊面對緊嘅挑戰。好啦，咁所以頭先講翻就話喺嗰個 security compliance 上面咧，正正就係BigFix 嗰個裏邊嘅 module 咧，就係有呢啲嘅 rule set 咧，你哋可以去 follow 嚇。咁當然啦，佢個標題就係乜嘢咧？就係話，當你用咗 BigFix 之後咧，呢啲嘅 rule set，當舉個例子，譬如話 CIS 又好，PCI 都好，佢係不斷咁去更新，不斷係改變嘅。今年可能佢加咗10條 rules。明年可能又再加多10條 rules， 咁究竟咁對於 IT 嚟講，其實我要常常要 keep update 咧，其實呢件事係好即係你要費好多心力嘅。但係正正呢件事你交咗俾HCL 嘅 BigFix 嘅時候咧，就 BigFix 本身就會幫你去處理得到，即係話當有新嘅 rule set 落嚟咧，佢就會變成咗一個我哋叫做一個TechNet 一個 program 咧，以至你哋可以即刻攞嚟用，唔需要自己再 study 再去做好多 research， 然後再做 convert 成為你嘅 rule set。咁呢件事咧係可以大大咧提即係快速地去滿足翻 security team 嗰個要求。咁對於 IT operation 嚟講咧，係一個好好嘅一個嘅幫助嚟嘅。我想特別 highlight 呢一個出嚟。咁當然啦，即係 vulnerability 更加大家唔使講啦。我諗大家為咗要面對即係好多嘅 threat，常常我都要知道我啲 endpoint 係咪 up to 而家最 latest 嘅 patch 嘅。呢個都係 security team 常常都會問，喂，係咪最新？係咪最 OK？So that 冇任何嘅問題會遇到。咁呢一部分嘅工作可以交俾 BigFix 做呢個成個 life cycle 咧，係做得好成熟嘅。你諗下，我哋呢10年啦，我哋睇住由以前由 IBM 到 HCL 收購咗 BigFix， 到而家再演化，我見到呢件事係越做越點講好成熟地，佢可以好快地去滿足到 customer 個要求。所以點解頭先我哋見到點解有成7萬嘅 endpoint 喺香港、澳門嘅 customer 都用緊咧？呢個正正就係一個好重要嘅一個嘅原因。好啦，咁即係頭先 echo 翻阿 Kenneth 講啦，其實 HCL 其實我見到呢間公司佢真係擺咗好多心力咧，去因應翻或者去繼續去開發 BigFix， 以至到加咗啲新嘅功能落去咧，能夠可以滿足而家 latest 嘅需要。Mobile device 大家唔可以唔用噶啦，手機pad 各方面都成為即係行業裏邊常常都要接觸到嘅一個嘅工具嚇。咁呢啲工具其實我哋需要管理，需要 control。有時嘅時候唔見咗嘅時候，我哋點樣能夠可以將佢 wrap up 裏邊呢啲好重要嘅 data？ 嗱，HCL 正正就係一路延伸緊 BigFix 嗰個能力，一路 cover 緊全面嘅一個嘅方案。呢個就係我哋見到，因為我哋作為一個 partner 啦，好坦白講，我哋見到有啲公司有陣時由一間公司移去另一間公司咧，好多時候都驚，喂，會唔會因為咁嘅原因呢啲嘅產品就會消失咧？正正我哋就會見得到，唔係喎，喺HCL 之下 ，BigFix 繼續嘅加咗好多好好嘅功能落去，繼續延伸緊去 serve 緊佢嘅 customer。我覺得呢件事係我哋作為一個 partner 咧，其實我哋都係好，即係我覺得係好好，所以我哋都繼續係會好，即係點講，好用心咁樣去做好即係 BigFix 相關嘅 project，因為個產品係越嚟越完善。咁呢個我都係希望俾大家都能夠體會得到呢一個即係呢個嘅事情。好啦，咁所以咧就仲有啲新嘅就係話究竟我作為一個 local partner， 一個 BigFix 喺香港一個嘅好 close partner， 究竟我哋有啲咩我哋可以做咧？過去10年其實我哋儲咗好多deployment 一啲嘅經驗喺唔同嘅行業裏邊，有唔同嘅 requirement。特別地我想講嘅就話對於一啲 policy、一啲 compliance 嘅 policy 咧，呢個我哋有相當嘅認識同埋有相當經驗喺裏邊。咁以至到咧，如果有啲 customer 喂，我自己都唔係好多呢方面嘅 policy in place 嘅，我哋可以幫你咧係可以去建立一套 for 你哋自己嘅一個 policy， 以至到咧係你哋能夠可以比較容易啲去滿足翻可能你哋嘅行業喺個 compliance 或者 security 上面嗰個要求。呢個就正正係我哋能夠可以幫到大家，唔單止係個產品嘅支援或者係實施而喺背後呢啲 policy 正正係就係喺呢個價值上邊咧係最重要。咁當然作為一個 local partner， 我哋希望我哋唔單止係做 deploy 啦，我哋都係俾好多嘅支援 support 俾翻大家，以至到咧能夠減輕大家對於喺人手上邊嗰個嘅要求啦。咁呢部分嘅工作亦都可以交俾我哋咁樣。咁希望咧俾大家咧能夠咧就 了解 TechNet 多啲啦。咁我希望有機會我哋再詳細將我哋一啲嘅經驗咧，同大家去 share。咁我嘅 PowerPoint 到呢度啦，係啦，好，唔該曬 Jason 先，唔好客氣。好，
咁而家就去到下一個部分咧，就會由係我哋 HCL 嘅同事咧，就會有個嘅分享，就講翻一啲嘅BigFix 入邊一啲嘅 product 嘅 update 啦，同埋一個 demonstration 嘅。咁跟住下邊嘅環節咧，就會用英文講嘅。OK。Shane，are you still here? Shane?
Yeah.
Yeah. You can.
I am.
You can start your presentation.
Arigato gozaimasu. Konnichiwa, everybody. Thank you for having me. I'm just going to quickly go through and give everyone a bit of a rundown of BigFix Mobile, which is our latest BigFix module to make it into our product. So while we were developing this solution, we were actually talking to a lot of our existing customers and trying to find out what they wanted in a tool. You know, what tools were they currently using, and what were they finding with those tools. So with BigFix Mobile, we've built this from the ground up. We haven't taken an existing product. We have built this to integrate with BigFix itself. So a lot of our people that we were talking to weren't using the full capability of a mobile device management product. In other words, they had a lot of redundant or wasted features that they weren't using. And what we also found was that they had a lot of disparate teams. So they had an operations team, a tech team, and a mobile team. And, you know, they weren't really working together in harmony to make sure that their entire endpoint management fleet was being managed correctly. So with BigFix Mobile, what we wanted to do was really close the unified endpoint management gap. So, you know, with the power of BigFix, where we have been able to manage all other existing devices, whether they be Windows, Linux, Mac, AIX, Solaris. Now with BigFix Mobile, we have everything together, and we can, you know, automate enrollment, you know, automate compliance with restrictions. But we wanted to make sure that we were giving our customers features that they were going to use, and not features that, you know, were nice to have, but they weren't actually going to use. So with BigFix, as Jackson and Kenneth explained before, we're able to manage a large number of different operating systems, basically anywhere they are. So whether they're in a hotel, at the airport, in a coffee shop, or, you know, working from home. And now we're able to manage, you know, a multitude of different devices, and not only those devices, but we're able to do integrations with existing products for, you know, vulnerability scanning, such as Qualys, Tenable, or for your, you know, management of incidents and stuff like ServiceNow. So we really have a big breadth of support and capability within the BigFix product. So with BigFix Mobile, we were looking at, you know, what are the 5 main things that users want to be able to do with, you know, an iOS, iPadOS, or Android device. You know, so you really want to be able to have a, you know, simplified, you know, zero-touch enrollment and over the air, enabling the users to enroll from wherever they may be. We then want to be able to manage that device, and, you know, from applying applications from the Play stores and the app stores down to, you know, configuring security restrictions and making sure that they are updating their operating system when there's an update available. And then, you know, what do we do if someone loses that device, or, you know, how do we protect the corporate data on there? Because, you know, that is vital to an organization, making sure that their intellectual property that resides on that device is not compromised. And then inevitably what happens is a device is retired. When it becomes its end of life, how do we manage that retirement and decommission that device? So with our first release of BigFix Mobile, these are the core things that we've tried to focus on and give us an MVP release or a minimal viable product to make sure that we're delivering enough functionality for our customers to utilize. What we've done with the integration in our web UI is to be able to enhance our command center and our modern client management center, so that we now have, a notifications panel that tells the user what's happening within their environment. And then our at a glance statuses that, will show the user what's happening with a security focus, what devices don't have a passcode. And then we've got our daily tasks. So, what things might you want to do on a day-to-day basis? And then some quick details for the management types about what's our population look like, how many mobile devices, how many iOS and Android do we have? So like everything with BigFix, it's all very modular. You can pick different modules to add to your BigFix service, such as compliance, lifecycle, and our modern client management pack. And that's the same methodology that happens with mobile devices. So it's another module you can add to your existing BigFix install, or have it by itself just to manage mobile devices. But BigFix is very modular. You can think of it like, a channel pack for your Netflix channel or something like that, where you pick and choose what channels you might want to watch. You can do the same with BigFix. So one of the other things that we wanted to do was to address the siloed teams methodology that seems to be happening with a lot of organizations. Is they have 3 or 4 different tools that do different things for different subset of devices. So, you might have Intune and mobile and, Workspace ONE, and then your desktops might be running GMF and FCCM. And, there's so many different tools, so many different teams and people. What we found we're asking our existing customers is that 49% of them wanted to streamline the mobile device management function of that. And they wanted to reduce the number of tools and, have a single management application to manage across all their devices, which is now what BigFix gives with our introduction of BigFix Mobile. So, with BigFix, we are now able to manage mobile, desktops, laptops, servers in the data center, or be it in the cloud. So you have simplified the process, simplified the tools, and you can reduce your, HR expenditure on people to be able to, effectively manage those and get rid of them doing, mundane tasks that they're not needed. So what I might do is I might jump into a BigFix Mobile demo to give everyone a look at what BigFix Mobile looks like. So I'm just going to switch over to my device. So bear with me a second. Alrighty, so this is a BigFix environment that I have here within my lab, where I have some devices with me that I can log into. So this is our web UI portal where we can manage our devices. So this is available with the BigFix platform itself. And this is how you manage your existing BigFix devices and now your BigFix mobile devices. So logging into BigFix, you'll be greeted by our standard BigFix page. But then if we go to mobile client management, this is where we look at the new command center that we have. So we can see at the top the notifications of what's going on in my environment. We can see here we've got different security-focused elements. So, we've got devices without a passcode. We've got a lot of devices without, any restrictions. And, we have devices here that aren't encrypted. So this, has a focus on on green is good. So driving these numbers down to 0, so that, we can get the best security we have within our environment. All of these, as you can see, are clickable, and we can drill down through them. So if we look at devices here that have don't have a passcode, we can see what it's come up here with. And we can see here that we've got a number of devices that don't have a passcode, and one of them being, an iOS mobile device. So if we wanted just to affect that device, we could click into it and look further at what that device is. And we can see detailed information about when it last reported, what operating system it's running, and also what policies are actually, installed on that device. So we can see here we have an enrollment policy, and we have a restrictions policy on here, but we don't have a passcode policy. So I could go and deploy a new policy straight from our deployment option here. Or if I had multiple devices that I wanted to deploy the same policy to, I could come back to the device screen and hit ticket, and then we get another screen up the top here, which has our deployment options. So we can then click deploy policy. Now this will automatically create a policy deployment where we can then go and pick our policy that we want to use. And from here, we can filter the policy type by different types of policies, such as passcode policy. So we can see here that we have little icons next to each one that give the user a quick notification of what that policy applies to. So you can see here, this is a corporate iPad and iOS passcode policy. So if we select that, and then we can click deploy. Now this will create a deployment out to my devices. And if I switch over to a set of devices here, so I have 3 devices here. I've got an Android device on the left, another one on the right, and in the middle, we have an iOS device. So as you can see, that device has popped up, it's received that policy, and it says, I now need to enter a passcode. So if I hit later, we can then go and actually look at that device. And if we look at the device management, there's the enrollment profile that we have. And we can see here are the restrictions policy. So we have a restrictions policy, and we now have the passcode policy that we just pushed out. And if I switch back to our console, you can now see that the device has entered a fixed status. So it's actually fixed that device and being able to push that policy out to that. But you need to actually create those policies before you can push them. So we have a quick link up the top here where you can go and create a policy straight away, and it'll come up with your different types of policies that you can create. And within here we have your icons that will show you what they relate to. So you can see we can create a passcode policy that can work across multiple different operating systems, or an update policy that we can push out to iOS and Android devices. Or we can create an app store policy, to deploy applications out to that. And we can even create custom policies to deploy those out. In each of our screens, we have a jump to where you can jump to different functions within that. And one of them, obviously, is you can look at the policies that you have. So you can see here, I've got a number of different policies, being it from Android to iOS, etc. So with these, you can look at each of these policies and modify the policies. And when you go through them, you can see, they've got default options, and, they've got settings that you will look at. And what we can do is, deploy a particular policy out to a device. So there is some differences with Android versus iOS. With iOS, you can deploy multiple policies down to a machine. With Android devices, you can't. It is one policy that will apply to that device. So how we do that is we actually group policies together. So what we end up doing is creating a policy group. So here you can see I have a corporate Android policy. And with this policy here, we can see I've got passcode policy, I've got an application policy, and I've got a restrictions policy. So we can lump those together and apply them in one group down to a machine. And we can stage this policy on our MDM server to automatically apply that policy when a user enrolls. So if they enroll as a BYOD device or as a corporate device, they're going to get this policy. So what we can actually do is, if we go to our policy groups, is I can deploy this application to one of my devices. So we can click this policy and we'll get a deploy screen, and we can go policy group action. That'll bring us up to a deployment screen where we can then select our target. So here you can see I've got a couple of devices, and this is one of the devices that I have on my desk. If I click OK and then click deploy, it's going to then deploy out to that device. So if I switch back to my devices here, this is the device that we have here. So you can see here that we have a work profile. So it's enrolled, but there's no policies or restrictions. So you can see I'm getting a lot of notifications now. So this is actually receiving the policy and applying that. If we look at our work Play Store, so in our work container for Android Enterprise, there's no applications yet. So it's downloading the policy at the moment. With Android, you have two separate containers. You have a personal container and a work container, or personal profile and a work profile. The design of that is you can have multiple applications on the machine, on your device at once, and with your personal cannot see a work, and your work cannot see a personal. So here I've got Uber in my personal, and one of the applications that my policy will actually start deploying is Uber. So you can see here that it's got the policy and its application policy, and it's actually starting to download and install those devices. So you can see we now have Slack in our work profile. It's downloaded the policy and installing that. So, that's how quickly, we can, run these devices. So, the environment that I have is sitting in AWS in North America somewhere. And, these devices that I have are on my desk here in Australia. So from the other side of the world, it's taking, a few seconds to get down to me using the vendor's notification service. So it's either APNS for Apple or GCM for Android devices. Another thing that I wanted to show you is how quickly and easy it is to actually enroll a device. So to enroll a device is very quick. So you just need to send out the user a link to a device, to your enrollment URL. So that link can be in the form of an email, a text message, and all the user has to do is go to a URL. So this is for my one. And then you can authenticate it against your directory service and ask the user to log in. Once the user logs in, it will put them to their the vendor's installation procedure for Android at work. So this is a Pixel device. So, and it's an emulated device, so it does run a bit slower. And you just follow the prompts basically. But once you've gone through that, because I've already staged the profile on my MDM server, this will actually start to download my security policy, my passcode policy, and my applications policy and assign it to that device. So now, I can fully manage this device. So, being able to work from anywhere on any device is really key nowadays. So you have users out there that can now, run everything from their mobile phones, and you can literally manage those devices from a single pane of glass and not have to worry about, what application do I need to log into to manage that device. So that's what I wanted to show you how that can work. Thank you very much. I will now pass back to Kenneth and Jackson.
Thank you, Chen. OK， 我諗而家就希望可以 open 個 session 俾大家去問問題啊。你可以喺個 chat room 嗰度問問題啦，或者係如果你都可以係 unmute 你自己用英文或者中文去問佢問題都得嘅。OK。咁或者我問一問 Jackson 啦，其實頭先Jackson 你都有提過啦，而家個 trend 其實就係都 compliance 咧。比較重要啊，或者可唔可以多啲分享？其實而家多數於1-2年嗰個企業嗰個要求，除咗話我真係做啲 endpoint management 啊 ，compliance 都好緊要啦。譬如話，如果可能做銀行啊、保險啊，佢一定有啲譬如頭先你所講PCI 啊或者咁嘅 standard 要符合啦。咁我見到可能線上邊我哋有啲邀請者可能係政府嘅，或者係唔同嘅行業。咁你有啲咩分享可以俾到啲在會者？
嗱，其實咧就我哋有啲得意嘅經驗嘅，就係好多時候咧，即係嗱當然啦，即係大啲嘅企業，其實好多時候咧就 security team 都會有好多嘅要求。係呢啲要求咧就係可能由 vulnerability 到一啲所謂一啲 hardening 嘅 guideline，各方面佢都會有。咁但係問題就係有陣時你收到一啲嘅 requirement 或者啲 policy 嘅 book 啊本簿啊本嘢你要咁做，咁其實有陣時真係要做起上嚟咧，其實呢件事係唔容易嘅。係啦，即係我點樣將一個 written 嘅一個嘅要求，將佢 convert 變咗一個 IT operation 嘅嘢，意思能夠滿足呢個條件咧，正咧就喺平常嚟講咧，如果你冇一啲工具幫你咧，其實呢件事就好難嘅。咁但係 BigFix 咧，正就係因為佢裏邊有一啲好特定一啲嘅 human language， 佢就能夠好容易將呢啲 policy convert 成一啲 doable，或者 operational 嘅一啲嘅你叫我呢個嘅 command 又好，係 program 仔都好啦，佢能夠可以滿足翻呢個條件，以至到佢能夠做咗之後咧，我就話翻俾出翻個 report， 話俾食嗰啲聽，喂，其實我做咗啦，冇問題啦。咁而呢件事係可以儲低咗喺個 BigFix system 裏邊嘅。咁呢個就係好 key 嘅，因為大家都明啦 ，security 嘅要求係不斷嘅更新，係不斷加上去嘅。咁呢個係 number one 其中一個。第二就係好啦，當個企業或者話有時政府部門我都見到有呢啲問題。雖然話政府有個 guideline，guideline 就係 guideline，喺個天度嘅。我點落地咧？其實係唔容易嘅。咁正就係 BigFix 裏邊個 compliance module 裏邊嘅 item 正能夠幫到你。我舉一個好簡單嘅例子，譬如話我唔俾你幫一啲我要幫一啲 USB 嘅 device， 其實你點做？可能你要買軟件，買好複雜嘅一件事。但係喺 BigFix 嚟講咧，本身佢就已經係有一啲咁樣嘅 program 係能夠可以幫到你呢件事。明白。嗱，咁你諗下呢件事，其實喺 CIS 裏邊有講，即係佢有講呢啲 control，in 一個statement 嘅方法，但係佢點能夠可以落實得到咧？嗱，BigFix 嘅產品就先至可以幫到你。OK。咁我見到就係佢嘅優點就係頭先即係阿 Sam 講得好好，即係我見到即係個整全性。當好多 silo system 去 manage 唔同嘅嘢嘅時候，今天 BigFix 已經 cover 晒。咁呢個位其實大家可以係比較細緻啲去諗一諗，究竟原來我有一個 single product， which 係成個 spectrum 我都能夠可以滿足嘅。咁我諗喺市場上。我睇唔到除咗 BigFix 以外仲有其他，當然呢個我比較 sales 啦。多謝你啊！但係呢個亦都係我哋見得到，當我哋去接觸customer 睇緊唔同嘅一啲嘅產品嘅比拼嘅時候，其實當你一睇好全面嘅時候，其他嘅產品就sorry 呢部分我冇啊，呢部分我又冇嘅。但係我哋嘅 BigFix 就會有晒。咁呢個位係值得大家去比較細緻啲去諗一諗，幫大家嘅。
我諗咁樣睇啦，我自己有咁嘅分享咧，就係話其實產品就坊間一定會好多啦。OK， 咁其實每個產品亦都係有唔同嘅功能同埋定位啦。咁其實我哋同 HCL 同埋 TechNet 同埋 Computercon 咧，主要希望咧就係互補翻我可能我 HCL 嗰度一個產品，但係其實 TechNet 咧有一個嘅團隊咧去幫助到各位咧，去真係去試呢個產品同埋點去幫到你，呢個先係重要。因為產品我可能即係坊間上面有好多唔同嘅牌子，或者係我有唔同嘅產品，可能你都可以攞嚟試嘅。咁但係其實試你都要啲時間。咁其實我覺得 TechNet 你都可以話即係，譬如話我有一個客，咁我真係想試啦咁其實以我所知，可能即係用你哋可能有團隊或者係點樣，可以就真係好快試一試，有啲好 quick result 見得到。咁我覺得呢樣又真係可以幫到大家去睇下點樣去幫到你嘅企業入邊。
冇錯，因為我諗我哋有 lab 啦，咁變咗大家如果真係比較實體啲，好似頭先阿 Sam 佢做翻嗰個 demo，你見到好清晰睇到原來啲 policy 咁樣 apply，我哋同樣地我哋可以幫到大家就整全去睇睇可能個 POC 簡單一個 proof of technology， 睇到原來件事就係咁樣去成就得到嘅。咁咧就我哋本身我哋自己有 lab 咧，就可以幫到大家去好快咁去睇，原來呢個產品係啱我公司嘅，咁然後我哋再 proceed 咯。
好，我諗其實今日嗰個 session 呢個 webinar 都差唔多啦。咁我有少少補充咧，就話其實我哋有 questionnaire 嘅。咁我哋 questionnaire 咧，咁就麻煩各位咧，就係上網可以填咗啦。咁跟住我哋嘅同事咧，就會有少少一份嘅心意禮物咧。係送翻俾即係 follow up 每個嘅一啲在線嘅與會者咧，你填咗 questionnaire，咁我哋就俾翻你，作為即係大家少少嘅禮物，即係多謝你抽空一個小時嘅網上時間同我哋即係知道接觸我哋本公司嘅產品啦，同埋有啲乜嘢嘅我哋 partner 啦，可以俾到你一啲嘅即係希望有啲得着咯。咁暫時係咁多。咁或者今日個 session 就咁多。咁如果你哋有之後嘅問題咧，都歡迎咧揾翻我哋嘅同事咧。咁我哋之後會俾翻我哋嘅 contact 俾各位啦。咁如果你有咩關於係 HCL 呢間公司其他嘅產品，或者你話我想知道TechNet 入邊除咗 BigFix 有冇其他嘅 product 或者 services 可以幫到各位嘅？咁其實我哋都有翻個 contact 俾翻各位咧，去接觸出翻我哋嘅。咁我諗今日就多謝晒各位嘅時間。咁希望下次我哋如果下次有個 invitation 嘅時候，都會 send 翻俾你哋。咁有翻其他嘅分享。好，唔該晒各位先。
好，拜拜。
拜拜。